I'm going with you, I know we'll get to the other side. Sinking in, I know this feels right. Catching a breeze, love moving through me like a wildfire, like a wildfire. Never the same. Never you home, my name, I'm taking the same time. Hey, whatever the plan, I know I'm holding the best of me out of my hand. I know you always understand. Bring me into golden sunlight. If I'm going with you, I know we'll get to the other side. Sinking in, I know this feels right. Catching a breeze, love moving through me like a wildfire, like a wildfire.
So a bit of water. See, it pizzas. It's also nice. It's a bit old, but I have more bottles. So now a bit of white. Yes, I always shake them. The question is always, when is it more or less dry enough or not that wet anymore that I can create some textures. So here it's all about the edges actually. When you see that For instance, this corner or this part here. It looks more or less not dry, but the colored water, if you like, doesn't flow anymore. And when it's all around the paper, then you can try to create textures that will be visible after drying. So when it comes, or here I already tested it a bit with the nib, so now I know the word for it. But yes, I also wanted to show you here, for instance, you can see some lines. So these lines also on this side, so here and there, these lines are created with this nib, and I also want to do this a bit more in the center of the painting. Yes, so this is what I do now at last step. So, as I said, I wanted to have a bit lighter and a bit more white, that I get the impression, okay, this reminds me of Salt Desert. When you look into the internet and you look for pictures of Salt Desert, they look a bit different. Lighter than this one, it's a bit too orange. I see the lines more here, also here, 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 and here, and here. When it comes to the honeycomb structures, here, I can recognize them here. I can also see some other lines. Yes, all caused by this nib. As I said, we have here these honeycomb structures, and here and there you can still recognize the lines. So I like it a lot. This is perhaps nothing for someone, for everyone, but I like it. And together with all the other 5 ink paintings, I'm going to offer them for purchase.
Catching a breeze, love moving through me like a wildfire, like a wildfire. Never the same. Never you calling my name. I'm taking my sweet time. Hey, whatever the plan, I know I'm holding the best of me out of my hands. I know you always understand. Bring me into golden sunlight. I'm going with you, and I will get to the other side. Sinking in, I know it feels right. Catching a breeze, love moving through me like a wildfire, like a wildfire. Bring me into golden sunlight. I'm going with you, and I will get to the other side. Sinking in, I know this feels right. Catching a breeze, love moving through me like a wildfire, like a wildfire. falling sunlight. I'm going with you, and I will get to the other side. Sinking in, I know this feels right. Catching a breeze, love moving through me